Yep.
What up? What up? What up, man?
What's going on? Week one of the NFL is in the books. Straight no chaser. We raw dogging this shit. Nope. We is out here.
Yeah, no intro music this time. We gotta have something for next week, man. We not bringing in another episode without some type of intro music. I'm tired of giving this Steven ass motherfucker props. You don't need no shine no more, on this original beat. I'm tired of having the beginning of this, us explaining to you how this dude created this beat that he thought of on his own. Like, I'm tired of it, man.
Yeah, but this is just background music, something to play, something for the people to hear.
Yeah, out of all the things we done got copyright strike for, this for some reason
Ain't one of them.
It's untouchable. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Hey man, but listen, that's why he the GOAT. That's why he's the GOAT.
You funny, man. I can't knock it right now, Mark. I can't knock it.
Hey,
he's right now. You know what I'm saying? It's
but
an original beat. Who gonna tell me different?
Exactly. We got. I'll tell you what. You get those police officers that hemmed up Tyreek, and you'll find out something different.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's untouchable, I guess.
Yeah, man. They'll get you eventually. But listen, man, we got an episode for you. We'll see how great it is, but we do got an episode for you. And this one, we're going to be covering, we're going to update you with our current standings in fantasy football. We told you we was going to do that. We're going to obviously recap week one of the NFL because, that's what we do. And it's week one. So, like the title said, of course, we're going to give you overreactions and tell you who is already going to not make the playoffs and what QB sucks and this, that, and the third. We're going to do all that, baby. That's what we do here. You know what I mean?
Well, Mark, let's just put it this way, man. Do we not cover sports right now? We cover sports, right? That's what we do?
Yeah.
Yeah, we cover sports. You know what I'm saying? I mean, is it like a rite of passage to do these outrageous overreactions? I feel like if we don't do this, Mark, then are we even sportscasted? Like, are we?
Listen, man. Listen, my favorite thing to do is to be outlandish.
We got to, man.
So of course I'm going to jump out the window, and then when I'm right, I'm like I told you all along. Then when I'm wrong, hey, it doesn't matter if I'm wrong because when I'm right, I'm right, and when I'm wrong, I could have been right. So it doesn't matter if I was wrong.
Yeah, the craziest thing I seen the other day, and I'm trying to remember who it was, but they were talking trash, and they was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna talk trash for this whole month, because even if I'm wrong, I already talked trash for the whole month." And I'm like, you know what? I like that approach. I like that. It's already too late. I already had my fun. So yeah, like, nah, you know what I'm saying? So that's where we at, right? And let's be honest. I mean, I like to keep a little integrity, you know what I'm saying, if I'm gonna be outlandish. But what that looks like, Mark, is me disrespecting people. So I'm just gonna be honest. I'm probably gonna disrespect somebody that's gonna have y'all up in arms because apparently I do that shit every year. So
hey man,
Baker Mayfield fans, beware.
Hey, listen, man, it's all well and good in the hood, but here we are. We're about to get into it, so let's just go ahead and get the small stuff out the way, as they say, and let's go ahead and talk about this fantasy football thing, this fantasy league stuff. All right, so because this will be quick. All right, man, very quick. Like me and Sean, we're in the same league, and my team name is my homeboys Taylor, and that's because I got Patrick Mahomes and Jonathan Taylor. So there you go, my homeboys Taylor. I hope you get it. Anyway, let's go back. Let's go to the matchups of last week. I got my doors blown off last week.
Yo, I'm looking at his overall score, but it's Greg. You guys don't know Greg, but we're familiar with him. But this would only happen in this fashion. I think that has to be the highest score of the week, Mark.
Yeah, I believe it was. I believe it was.
But that's how you win lose, Mark.
Yeah, exactly. I was projected to win. As you guys can see. My team underperformed while his team overperformed. And the overperformance came from Jalen Reed, who was supposed to only score 12 points on the day. And I expected him to legitimately hold to that 12 to 15 points. But no, this dude went for 33 points, as you can see here. And meanwhile, he also had a kicker, Aubrey, who had himself a day. He had 2 field goals for 50 plus yards, 2 field goals between the 40 and 49 range. So, and then he had 3 pat tries. This dude had himself a day. 21 points from his kicker, 33 points from Jalen Reed. And then, everybody else just kind of showed up and did what they did. Debo Samuel made up for the points that would have been lost by Jamar Chase. And then, like I said, everybody else just kind of performed around where they was expected, except for Cleveland's defense for him. On the other hand, on my side, you got Amari Cooper, who gave me 3 points instead of 13 points. Saquon showed up for me, obviously, but then Travis Kelce didn't do what he was supposed to. Chris Godwin did what he was supposed to. My kicker showed up. My defense did not do what they were supposed to. This was Arizona, and they were supposed to put a trouncing on them. That's not what happened at all. And the most disappointing of all was Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce not combining for 40 points. Like, come on. Like,
Since when has that ever been a thing, Mark?
Huh?
Since when has that ever been a thing to where they don't do that, right?
Exactly.
What's going on here, man?
How do I have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, and they do not combine for 40 points? They combined for 26. Both underperformed. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. You looked out for me. Not. So, anyway, now let's look at another matchup from this week. Where were you? Yeah, you were. Let the church say amen. And you scored 131 to 104 by the porta potty. And you underperformed your projections by just 2 points. And this person, they underperformed their projections by 21 points. Ran away with it. You, like I said, you underperformed, but you was close. You was right there. The only person that really disappointed you was Mark Andrews and Amon-Ra St. Brown. But you did have Chicago's defense, who went absolutely apeshit and saved the day. So this was the best defense in fantasy football for this week. So awesome for you. Kudos.
Yes, thank you. I will say this. Although we did go out there and perform, the loss of Jordan Love is going to be a problem. They have him listed as doubtful, which is crazy to me, because that means, like, in this particular league, Mark, we don't have an IR slot. But if we did, I can't even move him to an IR spot. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, man.
Look, Tobias, we ain't got time for that nonsense. Tobias, you know what I'm saying? Got time for that.
For real, like, we being honest, you my man, but in the sleeper league, you are.
In the sleeper league, I have terrible luck, bro. I don't
luck.
I don't think
that's what it is.
It is. When you have three of your best players go out in the first 3 weeks of the season, like it happened last year, yeah, that's bad luck. I would say it's bad luck. Okay. I mean, I don't know what you would call losing Mark Andrews, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins all at the same time. I don't know what you would call that other than bad luck.
Are they all on your team right now?
No, I'm talking about last year. But that's what I'm saying. Every year it's something. This year, Mark, it's I just lost Jordan Love, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's gone.
But you played the whole game
now. You know about my draft snafu, all right? The sleeper app wasn't working for me, so I was on auto for a decent amount of picks. I'm just saying, it hasn't been the best of luck, Mark. We're just gonna call that what it is. So, yeah, I'm forced to work with the team that I have because I had issues with the sleeper app. So, yeah, I would call that bad luck. The app not working. I don't know what to call it other than that, Mark.
Yeah, so, snafu, he says. Snafu,
yes, snafu, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? I think Tobias, you know what I'm saying? Don't you work you work cyber, don't you? You know what I'm saying? What's your career field again, Tobias? I think you fucking with my shit, man. Anyway.
Yeah.
I think Tobias found my IP, you know, he found my IP address. Anyway.
All right, well, you know what I mean? We're gonna jump right into it, and let's get the talk out the way when it comes to one Tyreek Hill, because this was week 1, and in week 1, Tyreek Hill, before the game, just a few hours before the game, right outside of the stadium of the Miami Dolphins, Tyreek Hill gets pulled over in his Lamborghini, and gets forced out of the car onto the ground, and he's in handcuffs. But there's more to the story than that. The video from the police officer's body cam has come out. Mm-hmm. And in the video of the body cam, you see from others, you see the officer come up to the window. He retrieves the license of Tyreek Hill and all that. And Tyreek Hill proceeds to roll his window back up. The officer says, "Do not do that. Roll your window down." And there's words exchanged, this, that, and the third. And Tyreek Hill kind of gives some guff. Officer doesn't like that. The officer spazzes out. And he's like, "Look, you going to get out this car now. Like, it's too late now. You getting out the car." Tyreek Hill has to get out the car. He puts him in handcuffs. And then, long story less long, they asked Tyreek Hill to sit down on the ground. Tyreek Hill says, I just had surgery on my knee."
The man had surgery on his knee. No, I'm gonna let you finish. Go ahead, man.
He said, "I just had surgery." He was saying, "I just had surgery on my knee," and they're like, "Look, you've already been pissing us off. Sit down." Like, he's like, and he keeps trying to say, and they was like, "All right, get down." Like, and so at this point, they have him get down. They're very aggressive about the whole situation, and one of his teammates pulls up. And it's like, "Hey, concerned citizen friend pulls up. What's going on?" But hey, you're moving a little bit too fast there, brother. Well, slow down. I don't know you. Relax. Now you in handcuffs. Like, that's how that
yeah.
And so, and then again, once again, long story less long. Eventually, Tyreek Hill is taken out of handcuffs. He shows up to the facility, and he plays the game. But for those that have seen the video, and if you haven't seen the video, I invite you to look it up. But for those who have seen the video, please tell us, how do you feel about the fact that he was pulled over?
Yo, what up, Travis? Man, what's good, family? You know what I'm saying?
How do you feel about the way he was handled, I should say, rather?
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and speak on it, man. Yeah, man. So yeah, I didn't like the way he was handled. I'm gonna be real. I didn't like the way he was being handled. Just first and foremost, the way they yanked him out the car, the aggressive. I mean, you asked him about his seatbelt, and instead of asking about your seatbelt, it's, "Hey, why aren't you wearing a seatbelt? Huh? Why isn't your seatbelt on?" It's crazy, man. Over a seatbelt? Like, okay, whatever, man. And then, you fast forward to the part where he's telling them, "Oh, you got surgery on your knee? You should have got surgery on your ears." Like
that was wild.
All the extra. Hey, buddy was snapping. He was cooking. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, that's a bar.
Hey, it was. You know what I'm saying? Got him disbarred. He's suspended now. But with that said, nah, man, all the stuff that he was doing was extra, man. The way he was talking to him, all that stuff, yada, yada, yada. You know what I'm saying? When he told old buddy, "Hey, you got to get out of here," asked him a few times, then he said, "Look, give me your license." He's like, "Look, man, I'm moving. I'm about to move now." He's like, "Nah, man, we ain't playing this game. Give me that license now." He just kept yelling at him. So there was no de-escalation. It was a whole lot of escalation, man. And let's be honest, man, if these people were actual criminals, Mark, that actually didn't care about cops, he would have been putting himself and his partner in danger. So like he was definitely escalating the shit, man. But then on the other side of things, Mark, I have to say, Tyreek Hill was acting an ass, boy. He was like, you can't, and I'm gonna quote you here, Mark. You said he's only being this way. You feel like part of it is his celebrity. Like, Mark, I know I wouldn't have reacted the way that he did. I damn sure not taking off my seatbelt. I'm not rolling the window up on nobody. I'm not talking back the way he talking back. Specifically, seeing what type of time that the officer was on. So yeah, it was definitely one of those things where I'm like, yo, this shit could have went a lot worse. Since you have both people kind of, I wouldn't say escalating the situation. I mean, it did kind of escalate, but the main thing is, two people disrespecting each other, man. And that's what it comes down to. So, like, they both were on for the disrespect. But all in all, the onus is always going to be on the cops, man. Y'all are trained to deal with this. You're trained to deal with people that don't follow rules. That's your whole job. You're trained to de-escalate situations. I'm starting to believe they're not, but you're trained to de-escalate the situation, man. So it's just like if I get into an argument with a 6-year-old, I can't say, well, the 6-year-old said this to me. I am the adult. I am the person that has more of the responsibility of behaving in the proper way or, reacting in the proper way. So that's the way it is with the cops. Y'all are supposed to be better than us because you guys are the ones upholding the standards. So, yeah. So I would say I didn't like what either side did, but I'm going to sit here and say that 80% of the wrong is on the police force here. How you feel?
No, 100%. I feel the same way. I feel like most of the wrong is on the police force. But the problem is that Tyreek Hill is not being an angel in this situation. And if you see, in fact, like you said, he's being an asshole. And I feel like he was pushing someone that's already on the edge.
Yes. Dare I say, asking for it, Mark?
Yes.
I know it's taboo to say things like that, but I felt like it.
You were kind of Doug, maybe part of me feels like maybe this was a little bit of a reality check for you. Hey man, it still could get real for you just like everybody else. Stop playing games. You shouldn't play like that. The officer was wrong, but you should not be playing like that.
Yeah,
especially with the rolling up of the window. Because that is a dangerous situation for a police officer if you roll up the window and he can no longer see in your car and see what you're doing. Because you roll up your window, you could possibly now be pulling out a gun, pulling out a weapon, and then he don't see it. He walks back up to the car, bam, somebody takes his life away. These are the type of things that can happen. These are the type of things that they need to be wary of. So it's not just you that is that's in a precarious situation. They are also in a situation where they're in danger. And you doing that is wildness.
Yeah, he don't know you. You're in Miami. We know how it is in Miami, bro. You walking around, and I don't want to do it like this, but I will. You know, if you know anything about the Haitians in Miami, they wild. Okay, you're walking around and looking like you could be a Haitian. You walking around and you're talking crazy. Look, absolutely not. They should not assume anything about you. But you know what's not assuming? They didn't have to assume that you're not complying. They didn't have to assume that you're disrespecting. They didn't have to assume that you essentially put them in a spot by rolling up the window. You know what I'm saying? This is real shit. And then, to me, it's a situation to where not only forget about the just putting the cops in danger in that situation and put them in a precarious situation, you are putting them in a situation to where if they really was about that, close case, closed casket, baby. Like hey man, I felt threatened by the way he was talking to me. He wasn't complying. I asked him to get out of the car. He wouldn't. He rolled the windows up on me. I thought he was pulling out a gun.
And he wouldn't.
You don't want to give him that, man. Like, you don't want to give him that path, man. So
yeah, like, you refuse to roll the window down, like. But listen, like I said, the police officer's job is to de-escalate, and he was largely in the wrong. But this is just a little bit. You just did a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, if Jerry Jones and Mike McDaniel did the same thing, they would not know. Are they being treated the same way? I don't know. More than likely, like, to be completely honest, more than likely, no. But the fact of the matter is, us being black people, we have to move a certain way. And I hope you're teaching your son that, hey, don't teach them that don't see color shit. You better see color every day of your effing life and understand that you get treated differently, and you get treated differently in a negative way. So you better have you better dot your T's, and you know what I mean, cross your, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not that black until you are. You know what I'm saying? There's been a lot of people
over
time that thought that they wasn't
you know
black.
What I'm saying?
You know,
like, because otherwise it could get real for you. Like, and that's just the honest truth. I'm not saying that it's right by any means. None of it's right, but it is a reality, and we do have to live in the reality of what could possibly happen. In that moment, Tyreek Hill wasn't living in reality.
Oh, and real quick, I don't know if Travis is still in here, but Calais Campbell rolling up in front of the situation, getting out of the vehicle, not a good move. It's strange that Travis is here. I appreciate you showing up. Me and him went through the same situation, you know. I got pulled over in a car with somebody. They pulled up in front of us because they saw we were pulled over, and they were trying to get out to tell the cops, hey, you know, I'm going to drive the vehicle back since the person in the driver's seat doesn't have a license. I'm going to drive their vehicle back. That's all he wanted to tell the cops. And all they did was hop out the vehicle, took 3 steps, had guns drawn on them. So, like, and they specifically said, look, y'all can come over here, but I need to see your hands. I heard what you said. Let me see your hands. I need to see your hands at all times. I don't know what y'all, got on you. You ain't got nothing. Okay, that's cool. Hands up. Keep them. Show me your palms, and I need to see them the whole time you're walking over here. So even in a situation where they're like, no, I understand what you're saying, I still got to treat this situation a certain way. So, like, yeah, that was also a crazy move, man. If y'all out here watching, man, don't do that, man. Do not do that, okay?
Hey, man, like, there's a lot of these guys that they're trained, but they're stupid. They're trained, but they're nervous. that it's all those type of things, and you like, dog, just it's unfortunate, but we have to be the ones to keep them at ease.
Yeah.
But it's really effed up. But remember, it's the situation that it is, and it's what that I didn't like the situation at all. But thankfully, the guy is placed on administrative leave. We'll see what happens from there. Some sort of suspension or whatever.
I wanted to point out one more thing before we move on to the next topic. They let him out the handcuffs, and he started walking towards the officer like he wanted to fight him. I don't know what he was on, Mark. Look, man, he was just on, like, Tyreek was on one, man. Like, hey, you get bailed out, not bailed out, but you end up in a situation to where they should have took you in, they didn't because of all the hoopla, and they got people there, and everything got squashed. They let you out the cuffs. You about to go to the game. Let that shit ride, my boy.
Yeah.
But
all right, man. Yeah. Nice talk. That was a little thing that happened in week 1. Now here we are.
Let's get to the good stuff, man.
Get to the good stuff of week 1 NFL recap. All right. So, Sean, right away, man, give me your best overreaction.
Best overreaction?
Yep. Your number 1 takeaway, best overreaction.
And I gotta I like to keep it somewhat realistic, Mark.
That's not an overreaction if it's realistic.
No, it's still gonna be overreaction. Just bear with me. Deshaun Watson is absolutely toast. And when I'm saying this, Mark, off of week 1, I'm going to tell you where I have him ranked as far as quarterbacks in the league. Quarterbacks in this league that are worse than him. Bryce Young. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm talking about starting quarterbacks. Bryce Young.
I know. I get it.
Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm.
List over. That's it. Daniel Jones and Bryce Young. Everybody else, Mark, I will take them over Deshaun Watson right now because they at least have an ounce of potential. I feel like there is zero potential left in Deshaun Watson. Look, man, I remember what it was like when Wayne stopped drinking lean, man. I remember what it was like when Tiger Woods couldn't get at his white women, man. I remember the fall off, Mark, and I've seen this story before, man. Nobody remembers Lil Wayne after he stopped drinking lean. He started drinking lean for 2-3 years. As soon as he started drinking lean again, he was back up, Mark. All I'm saying is, I think that he's dedicated to the idea that he's just not going to do the massage thing anymore. And with that said, his superpowers have been stripped. He's Samson who got his hair cut off, Mark. He is the power of the Black Panther strippeth away. Okay, he's done, Mark. Okay, there's only 2 quarterbacks in the league worse than him.
Word.
Give me Bo Nix.
Give you Bo Nix. Okay. All right, man. My number 1 reaction of week 1. Are you ready?
Yeah,
I'm ready. My number 1 reaction of week 1 is the New Orleans Saints are the best team in the NFL.
Disgusting, Mark. I can't believe you even. I understand the game is supposed to be an overreaction, but I can't believe you actually said it.
Hey, man, the New Orleans Saints had a fantastic game against the Carolina Panthers, guys. I don't know if you know this, but the Saints went out there and took care of business. Taking care of business. You know what I mean? That's what they went out there and did. You had Derek Carr, who was 19 for 23, 200 yards with 3 touchdowns. 3 of them things. Alvin Kamara, 15 rushes for 83 yards. He averaged 5.5 carries. Isn't this dude supposed to be getting older? Like, that's what I thought.
He's supposed to be, but it's not really looking like it, Mark. He hasn't really slowed down, but yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this dude's supposed to be on his
You
way
say
out.
15 for 83?
Yes.
Yeah,
He's supposed to be on his way out the door. It didn't look like it on this day.
I thought they said he wasn't no between the tackles runner, man. I saw him running between the tackles. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Right. Alvin Kamara, 5 receptions for 27 yards, man. Like I said, Derek Carr is back.
Wow, Derek, boy, I was mid-sip when you said that. Derek Carr is back. Let's go. Continue.
Hey, man.
You almost got me, Mark.
Hey, man, that's what happened, baby. But here's something that's not and go pee. You know how to turn. Stop, Aaron.
Yeah.
Stop playing. Thank you.
Got
Sorry.
you. Go ahead. Continue, Mark. You know what I'm saying? Hey, take care of your business. You know what I'm saying? Family business. You know?
Hey, like I said.
Yeah. Here comes Troy.
Bryce Young.
Hey, that's crazy. Hold up. I'm gonna put that one up because I feel, yeah, our flag football team could outplay the Panthers this weekend.
Hey, man.
I will admit that's the surprise of the weekend. Panthers defense, very surprising.
Here's what is not an overreaction for me at all. I feel like this is 100% the truth. Bryce Young is hands down the worst starting quarterback in the NFL.
It's
Period.
sad. It's sad that I would take Daniel Jones over Bryce Young.
Absolutely.
It's sad to me. I don't.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. And it's an easy decision, Mark. That's how bad Bryce Young is. And you know what's crazy? And I hate to say this, Mark, but I'm going to say it. This guy ain't even a starter anymore. But it's starting to look like I might take Zach Wilson over Bryce Young.
Hey, man, listen.
It's starting to look like it.
Here's the thing. Carolina Panthers may be one of the most unluckiest franchises in the world, man. Remember when they was trying to find an owner for the Panthers?
Yes.
And things just kept falling through over and over and over again.
Real quick, Gary, we did not talk about the Colts yet. We getting there.
Looks like
Yeah.
you lost another one.
But remember, it just kept falling through over and over and over again. I say that they're the most unlucky franchise, possibly because, like, all this comes back down to Lovie Smith. Lovie Smith choosing to win. Lovie Smith, like, they need to go ahead. The Texans need to go ahead and send a $3 million check to Lovie Smith's mailbox. Because him winning that game saved you from Bryce Young. The Texans wanted that first round. They wanted that number 1 overall so bad they could get Bryce Young. They wanted it so bad because that's who they wanted. They wanted Bryce Young. They did not get him. And they did not get him. And when they got who they got, they were still happy with CJ Stroud. But now you see, you were saved from Bryce Young, and Carolina Panthers were saddled with Bryce Young, and that sucks for you. I'm going to go ahead and start us off with our next overreaction.
I just want to answer this real quick. Taking Mac Jones over Bryce Young. I'm taking Mac Jones twice over Bryce Young. His ceiling is doo-doo, but his floor is still higher than Bryce Young's. What I perceive to be Bryce Young's ceiling from what I can see right now. Saying a lot. Continue. I can't hear you. Can't hear you, Mark. Nope.
I'm not talking to you.
Oh, you muted yourself on purpose. My bad. I didn't know. No, go ahead. Bringing the week 1 recap back up. Okay, what we got next? All right. Well, while Mark is tending to some family business, taking care of the children, I'm gonna go ahead and answer any questions y'all got right now, or just react to some of these comments that y'all put out here. All right. So I'm gonna the first play interception, Bryce Young. Look, man, it was a battle between Bryce Young and Daniel Jones of who could have the worst weekend, man. And I don't know. As bad as Bryce Young played, Daniel Jones might have won that, man. He threw 2 picks and he threw a pick 6, man. I don't know. I don't know who won the battle of the worst quarterback in the NFL, but I don't know. I mean, Daniel Jones had a horrendous game, but I've at least seen Daniel Jones have a good game. I've never seen Bryce Young have a good game. Here we go. Christopher Blade Denham. Rob, I would take Mac Jones over Bryce with Kadarius Toney as wide receiver 1. That's crazy. He said he would take Mac Jones and Kadarius Toney combo over Bryce. All right, and then here we go. We have Trey Lance or Bryce Young.
Trey Lance.
Let me put it this way. In that preseason game that everybody's giving Trey Lance a hard time about, he threw for 400 yards. I don't think that Bryce Young is capable of throwing for 400 yards. I'm not even sure if Bryce Young can throw for 300 yards. I'll take 400 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 5 picks because you could probably fix the interceptions. And at least you know he has the ability to move the ball through the air and with his legs. I haven't seen Bryce Young do either.
All right. I want to take this next question from
go ahead.
From Jerry. Who's your biggest surprise player performance this week? That's easy. Sam Darnold. He must have found an exorcist because
he ain't seeing ghosts no more, Mark.
He ain't seeing no ghosts. He must have called up Bill Murray and Ernie Hudson because boy, oh boy, is Slimer not in the building today?
Hey, he's seen dead people on the other side of the ball, Mark.
You know what I'm saying? Like he was out there taking scalps, and that's another, and that leads me right into my second overreaction. Sam Darnold is here to stay. Sam Darnold is the real deal. That is my second overreaction. Sam Darnold figured himself out. He is the man. Like now that could very well work itself out to be true in the future, maybe. But right now it's an overreaction because 28-6. And you going up against the New York Giants, who I told you guys last week I have them as the worst NFL team this season, doesn't mean a lot. This just goes to prove my point that the Giants may very well be the worst NFL team this season. And until anything else is proven out, that's where we are. Sam Darnold was 19 for 24 for 208 yards and 2 touchdowns. And somehow he still threw a pick to the New York Giants. So, but here's another guy, like just another takeaway from the game, from that particular game. Aaron Jones, 14 rushes for 94 yards, man. This dude is losing his hair, but he is not losing a step. This man he was on point. This game, again, it's the Giants, and let's be fair, they do have Spider-Man, Brian Burns over there with the Giants now, but that did not do anything to dissuade Aaron Jones from getting them yards. He averaged 6.7 yards a carry. His longest run was 19 yards. And like I said, Aaron Jones last year dealt with a lot of injuries, and people thought maybe it's over for him. But towards the end of the season, you started to see an uptick in his carries and in his rushing totals and his averages. and he came into this season and continued that in week 1. So time will tell if that will be something that we continue to see. But right now, I think you fantasy guys should feel comfortable starting Aaron Jones next week.
Yeah. Okay. Real quick, I wanted to respond to this one. So Joe Mixon played really well. I think it's an understatement, but I will say this: what you saw, the way that he was being used, is the way that we thought that he was going to be used when he was with the Bengals, and it just felt like they just never did. Right? Remember his first couple of years, Mark, they weren't using him. He was still splitting carries with what's his name? I can't remember the dude's name, but I remember you used to be mad at him all the time because he was always splitting carries with him, Joe Mixon, the dude from the Bengals. Either way, point is, people forget. Joe Mixon wanted to go to Houston, and Houston wanted to pick up Joe Mixon. He just never fell to them at the time. But that was the whole rumored thing going into that draft was he was going to end up with the Texans. So I think it's something that people have forgotten, but he's where he wants to be at this point, and they are utilizing him in the way that he wants to be utilized and the way that he should be utilized. So shout out to the Texans, shout out to Joe Mixon. Real quick, Alec Pierce with 3 receptions for 125 in a TD, or Mason's performance with no heads up. I'm going to give Alec Pierce more credit. Jordan Mason this is his 3rd year on our team. He knows the system. He's been in practice. He's done all these things. Our offensive line, the Niners' offensive line, actually looked competent, not just in run blocking. They always look great in run blocking, but they look competent in the pass blocking. But our offensive line looked better than it usually does. And let's be honest, I like Jordan Mason, and he has great vision. He's a one-cut running back, which is supposed to be a dead thing. He did great, but the blocking was A1. So I give Alec Pierce more credit.
No, but it's still Sam Darnold, man. Nobody.
Yeah, no, I'm not arguing
expected anything from Sam Darnold. And honestly, like, let's be honest. Does anybody remember a time in Kyle Shanahan's time with the San Francisco 49ers that they didn't have a stable of backs? It kind of already understood that if the starting back went down, that the next guy up was going to get a bunch of yards.
Don't matter if they picked up at Walmart 2 weeks ago, right? He's done it. The Shanahans have done this with undrafted free agents multiple times. I need to be very clear of that. Multiple times they have made 1,000-yard rushers out of undrafted free agents. That needs to be noted, okay? People forget we picked up Mostert off of the practice squad at the time when we got him, okay? People forget that. So, yes, and then look at him. He went from the Niner system to the Niner system south. You know what I'm saying? And that's how he's been eating. So, no, man.
But yeah. Next up, what other game intrigued you, Sean?
What other game intrigued me?
Oh, I got one.
What?
I got one while you think of that.
Yeah, I'm going to think. Go ahead.
The Bengals are absolutely cooked, and New England they're good.
Damn, Mark,
I couldn't even finish it.
That's crazy.
I couldn't even finish it.
You gotta get that out, Mark. That's crazy. Look, man, I thought we was going with the overreactions, man. I thought we was going with overreactions. You gotta come on, man. Get that out.
I couldn't finish it. I was like, ugh.
That shit got stuck. It got stuck right there, right at your lips. Like, can't say it. But okay, as far as an intriguing game, I would say, to me, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Lions and Rams. That was intriguing to me.
Okay.
That was intriguing to me for two reasons. The Lions defense, they keep making improvements to the Lions defense. And then every time I watch them play, it's you see, like we saw it last year. They had games where the defense looked great and they're playing great. You see games where the defense just ain't holding up. And it felt like there was times where the Rams didn't get points. Like, let's not forget Stafford ending the first half drive with the end zone interception. But it just felt like the defense was getting cooked out there, regardless of them only giving up 20 points. It felt like they was getting cooked out there. So I thought the defense would be better. And they were in a fight with the Rams. And I like the Rams, Mark. And I think they have a good offense. And I just don't. But I also believe the Rams don't have that great of a defense. But it looked as though I was watching the Lions move the ball. I was watching big plays from Jameson Williams. I was watching Jahmyr Gibbs get his touches. I was watching David Montgomery do work. And then at the end of the game, the score is 27-20, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just intriguing to me that they're playing the Rams, and I thought this was one of those games where I thought, okay, yeah, you get in a shootout, but you should be finishing this game off with a 2-touchdown lead. And when I factor in the fact that Stafford threw a ridiculous interception in the end zone, this game could have went to overtime. And with the way that the Rams were moving up and down the field, they could have lost. I don't feel like this game should have been that close. I just expected more from the line.
Okay, I understand you. But at the same time, you say that it shouldn't have been that close, but I expected it to be that close. In fact, I think I had the Rams winning.
I think you might have, and I told you I still like the pick. It's weird. We both were under the impression it might be a shootout.
Yeah. And here's the honest truth. I think they would have won if they didn't have to adjust to not having Puka Nacua in the middle of the game.
But see, that's another thing I forgot to put in it. But you see what I'm saying? Like, I look at both of their offenses, and I think both of the offenses are capable, right? I think that when you look at the defenses, the Lions' defense is supposed to be a lot better than the Rams' defense, and I just didn't feel that.
Well, the Lions' defense was exactly as advertised when it came to rushing. They held Kyren Williams to 50 yards on 18 attempts with an average of 2.8 yards a carry. Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
Absolutely disgusting. So if I was to give an overreaction of this game, put Kyren Williams away. You made a mistake. You shouldn't have drafted him.
You know what? Drop him in your fantasy league right now.
Yeah, that would be an overreaction to.
You know, if you in my league, drop him right now. I dare you.
Another overreaction is Jahmyr Gibbs is cooked. This is David Montgomery's team. That would be another overreaction, but that would only be a slight overreaction because that's the way it's playing out now is the way it played out last year. David Montgomery,
he was a closer in this game.
Yeah,
absolutely. You did not see Jahmyr Gibbs out there in the fourth quarter like that.
Yeah, but Jahmyr Gibbs is also overcoming an injury as well. I believe maybe something flared up on him. I don't know.
He still had a good amount of touches. I think he had almost 20 total touches.
Well, he had 11 rushes to 17 to David Montgomery's 17 rushes.
Okay.
Yeah. But Jahmyr Gibbs also had 4 catches. So
15. Yeah, but yeah, I hear you. Are we done with the overreactions?
I mean, yeah, but there's so much more that happened in the league this week.
I would want to get to it all.
Yeah, like Atlanta versus Pittsburgh, man. Let me ask you, do you think that Kirk Cousins do you think this is what we'll be looking forward to with Kirk Cousins for the rest of the season? Or do you think It was simply because it was the Pittsburgh Steelers defense and it's TJ Watt over there. Like,
well, it's a combination of a lot of things, man. Kirk Cousins coming off an injury, new system, not just for Kirk Cousins, but also for the rest of the offense. And then, let's be honest, as good as Kirk Cousins might feel he is, and as much confidence as he might have, I'm sure having Michael Penix Jr. looking over your shoulder probably does something to you as well. And you know, Kirk Cousins doesn't do good with pressure. And, you know, like I said, but I think this is all in all just a combination of the situation at hand and the circumstances. And part of the circumstances is TJ Watt. And you know what I say, Mark, and I think you agree with me. A healthy TJ Watt for an entire season equals Defensive Player of the Year, essentially. That's just what it is. It's like by default, it just equals that. So, yeah, TJ Watt was living in the backfield. It felt like times I was like, yo, they're not even blocking him, man. I don't even. And then you see the play where they called him offside, but he just perfectly timed the jump. Like, what do you do about that? I can't blame Kirk Cousins for that. So, no, I think it's a combination of everything with, like I said, new system. He's got a quarterback looking over his shoulder. He's coming off an injury, and then you're playing TJ Watt in the Steelers defense.
Right. And then yeah. It's just, I'm looking back on it, and there was quite a few penalties as well. As particularly on, I remember a few positive plays being called back on Atlanta due to penalty. And two such plays, both passes were to Kyle Pitts where he gained 10 yards. And I'm like, and then it gets called back due to penalty, and then they were constant. It seemed to me, at least, that they were constantly in minus yardage because of like either being sacked or a penalty of some sort, and that's hard to overcome. But yeah, I will say this: don't look for Atlanta to overcome it this week. Atlanta is going up against Philadelphia, and this has nothing to do with Philadelphia. It has everything to do with it being Monday night.
Prime time.
And we do know how Kirk Cousins is under the lights. Kirk Cousins under the lights he's Bryce Young.
I was going to say he a cockroach. He disappears. But I guess we could call him Bryce Young for that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's slightly disrespectful to Kirk. But he's not going to play well.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say not going to play well. He's going to be the reason why you lose. That's what I will say. He will be the reason why you lose.
Right. So, he may play well, but in the end, be the reason why you lose.
He's absolutely going to be the reason why you lose. You better just hand the ball off 40 times to Bijan. I don't know. Figure something out. But.
Hey, the way that the the way that the Eagles defensive line looked this past game, handing the ball off to Bijan may be within your best interest. Bijan in this game against the Steelers, he had 18 rushes for only 68 yards, which is a bit of a disappointing day if you are a Bijan Robinson owner. He did have those receiving yards. So if you're playing PPR, he saved his day with his receptions and receiving yards.
Yeah, which is expected for Bijan. Bijan to me is like when I saw Saquon coming out of college, I didn't think I thought it was going to be a while before I saw another running back like Saquon. And then Bijan shows up, and it's like he's big, he's stout, he can move, he can do everything, he can catch, he can block. Yeah. Bijan will always save his day, his fantasy numbers with the catches. I just expect. Like you lost another one.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Anything else that stood out to you from this week, or any particular game that you want to talk about? And is there any other games that you guys thought like, oh, this is really worth mentioning as to what happened in the story of the game?
Well, I'm going to get into it, and this is going to lead you down a path, but I'm going to get into this because it is an intriguing game. And I thought what happened in the game was intriguing. Mark, everybody has been on the bandwagon of, oh, Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. He's got these weapons. The Jets are gonna. Look, man, I've been very steadfast in saying that they're going to do equal to or less than what he was doing in Green Bay every year, except for he's in a tougher division, so he might not get as many wins. That's been my stance. Sticking to it. I had them as the last wild card team in the AFC. I think either last, maybe sixth seed. But either way, I had them barely getting into the playoffs. And when you look at that game, Mark, the offense did not look like what it was supposed to look like. You say they played the Niners and the Niners defense was out there playing, but it looked like less of the Niners defense playing, and it looked like more of the only thing that was working was when Aaron Rodgers said, "F the script, I'm just throwing the ball to Wilson and Breece Hall." That seemed to be the only thing working in that offense, Mark. And that's what it felt like to me. So I just felt like there was a little bit of dysfunction, a little bit of discombobulation going on with the offense. The Jets, Breece Hall looked good. Fred Warner was out there making plays, so you can't really blame too much on Breece Hall. But Breece Hall looked good, all things considered. Garrett Wilson looked good. Aaron Rodgers looked like he might not be the person that the Jets thought they were getting. But it's weird, Mark. I saw a graphic, and I hate to quote Nick Wright, but he posted a graphic, and his stats for this game was basically the exact same stats as his last game for the Packers. I think he's the same guy. I think you think he's the same guy. But the most shocking thing to me was the defense. The Niners scored on 8 straight possessions.
Mm-hmm.
There were 6 field goals, but the Niners were able to run the ball straight in the teeth, and that's supposed to be the strongest point of that defense, is the defensive front. So the front four. So now, man, that to me was the other intriguing game.
Okay, I hear you.
Not because of what the Niners was doing, but because of what the Jets didn't do.
Yeah, the Jets defense, they disappointed. The Jets defense greatly disappointed in this game. I don't know what happened to Sauce Gardner. He was out for a significant amount of plays in the first half.
He was making plays, though. He was playing pretty good defense on Ayuk whenever he's paired up with him. But
right, Jets scored first in this game, but they did not get the last laugh. They scored the first touchdown in this game.
They did.
But they did not get the last laugh. And funny enough, they are the only team in the AFC East to not secure a win this week.
Mm-hmm.
They are in a definitive hole starting out. It's going to be interesting, man. I don't know what to make of the Jets, to be honest. I don't know what to make of them yet. I feel like Breece Hall was not utilized. It wasn't utilized in a flow.
He was not.
It shows that he got 16 carries on the day, but I just feel it feels like it was the sporadic 16. You know what I mean? It wasn't in any sort of flow that could help the team at all. Allen Lazard being having the most yards and tied for the most receptions in this game was interesting.
Yeah, second half they paid a lot more attention to Garrett Wilson.
Yeah,
and that's what opened up Lazard. But yeah,
so we will see how it goes moving forward for the Jets. I still think they're going to be a good team. I think to be honest, I think Aaron Rodgers still has something in the tank, man. I just don't think Aaron Rodgers wants to do the work. And when you're on a new team, you have to be willing to do the work to get things the way that they should look. And
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like he's willing to do the work to make sure that the chemistry is there and that they gel. And I think that will ultimately be the team's downfall.
Yeah, and this is that's been a complaint of mine personally with Aaron Rodgers. Everything is his way, and he'll trust the system to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, he's going to do Aaron Rodgers things, right? And I think what's more beneficial to him is if they can figure out the offense and how it's supposed to work, plus the incorporation of Breece Hall. Because I think Breece Hall, I think he's an amazing running back. And even in the times where he was, even though we were bottling him up, man, the way how hard he was running, there was plays where he got 4 yards and he shouldn't have got 4 yards, right? So I just think I'm with you. Like game flow with Breece Hall, they have to figure that out. And as much as he's a stubborn person that feels like he doesn't need the run game to protect him, or he doesn't need the run game to open up the offense for him, he can feel that way all he wants, Mark. I think it's necessary, especially when it seems like the interior of the offensive line. Dude, Collins was in the backfield at DT at every turn. The interior of the offensive line seemed like it's going to be a problem for them all season. So yeah, no, you have to call the dogs off by running the ball.
All right. This is the last thing I want to get to before we move on to something else. Dallas-Cleveland game. The game score was 33-17. Dallas. Still, with the game score of 33, Dallas offensively was not good. One score came off of a punt return, and then you have the other three. You have the other three scores the other two scores that they was able to get from a touchdown, two rushing touchdowns, one passing, and then you have all field goals, right?
Yeah.
Am I correct in that? Yeah. Like that. All right. Let's just go over it. Dak Prescott passed to Brandon Cook to the left for a 21-yard touchdown, and then it was Zeke rush up the middle for a 3-yard one, and then you got and then the next touchdown. Yep, that was it. That was it. Because the other one was the punt return.
Yeah.
And then it was all field goals from there. So they only got 2 touchdowns. One for Zeke and one for Dak, and then the punt return touchdown.
Yeah. And I was going to say, and let's not forget, that defense had them in good field position all game.
Yes.
Defense going crazy, Mark. That defense, the fucking front line was going apeshit. I felt bad for Deshaun Watson. He couldn't do nothing, man.
They were like, and that's the biggest thing for me, is that this team was in plus territory 90% of the game. The Dallas Cowboys was in plus territory 90% of the game, and yet somehow they had to settle for long field goals multiple times. Like four field goals they had, and none of them was under 30 yards. In fact, all of them was for 40 yards or more. Their first field goal was a 57-yarder, and the second one was a 40-yarder. Third one a 49-yarder, and then you have the last two, which was a 50-yarder and a 46-yarder.
Yeah.
Like, so they just didn't have, like, Doug, you were in short field most of the game and didn't go anywhere with the ball.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, granted, it is Cleveland's defense, but there should be a slight concern there. Seeing how you was in short field most of the game and didn't do anything with it.
You should have turned out more touchdowns. Like the field goals, like you said, some of them it's like, okay, you are going against the Browns defense, but at some point, if you're starting out where you're starting out, you got to punch it in, man. You have to show me some semblance of high octane something because
right.
Because if I'm giving you 50 yards to get a touchdown, you shouldn't be kicking 4 field goals. That's just what it is, you know.
Right.
So yeah, no, but Cowboys fans are gonna hang their hat on the 33 points, and it looks good and it sounds good, Mark. Just like the Bears fans are gonna look and say we got 24 points, and then when you realize that there was no offensive touchdowns, you know what I'm saying, and then you just look at the totality of that game, you know, and the way that the offense looked. I mean, you could say, okay, you won the game and you scored for 24 points, but what does that really mean? So same thing with the Cowboys here. You won 33-17, but there should be a cause for concern with the way that the offense looked, because guess what? Your defense isn't always going to carry you. And that's what they've run into every single time they've made it to the playoffs. It doesn't matter who they've played. The defense ends up not being dominant, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if they play good. They end up not being dominant, and then the offense can't produce. So,
right. All right. Yeah, that's it for that, man.
Mm-hmm.
What do we have next, Sean?
We got Shedeur Sanders. Unless you want to do the something or nothing. I don't know what you remember. I don't remember what you have with the something or nothing. But
yeah, I don't.
Okay, well then we're gonna go with the Shedeur Sanders topic here.
Right.
Pulling it up. All right, we have Shedeur Sanders close to a crash out. Colorado gets the boot smoked by Nebraska. Nebraska is in all caps. Look, I understand they got a new coach. That's good. Nebraska has been like averaging 3 wins a year for the last 3 seasons. Yes, it is a big deal that they got completely demolished by Nebraska, okay? I'm not going to downplay the Nebraska thing. It's all caps for a reason. But if you guys don't know, end of the game comes, the last 2 minutes of the game, they're getting close to the last 2 minutes of the game. It's like 2 minutes, 45 seconds left. And Shedeur Sanders, as the offense leaves the field, Shedeur Sanders just keeps walking, heads straight into the locker room, doesn't say anything to anybody, doesn't stop, just leaves the field with 2 minutes and 45 seconds left. I'm giving you a guesstimation of the time. But yeah, he left early, and obviously this is something that you don't want to see from your starting quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
If a tight end walks off the field, nobody really cares that much. If a defensive end walks off the field, you don't really care that much. You can't have your starting quarterback doing that. And you especially cannot have your starting quarterback that talks that much trash. All right? He does a lot of chest bumping. You can't have them walking off the field early. And then to follow that up, in the post-game press conference, they asked him some questions about the run game. And I felt like they tried to give him an out so that he could change his answer.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept doubling down on the fact of, I don't know why you're talking to me about the run game. And he ended it off by saying, by the third time he answered, he was like, look, if we go down, I want to go down swinging. And at the end of the day, I'm going with me and not the run game because I know that I can deliver the best punch. So,
right.
And Mark, I titled it Shedeur is close to a crash out because that's what it kind of felt like, a little mini crash out there. You walk off the field, and then I've seen him in press conferences. Mark, he ain't never talked like that before.
Hey,
so
man,
what do you think is going on here, man?
What I think is, I don't know what's going on here, but you as the QB, this feels like baby Jay Cutler. Like dog. This offensive line has to protect you. These aren't the people that you want to piss off.
Yeah, and if you because he said disparaging things, he basically said they ain't got no O-line, and he basically said they can't run the ball because they ain't got no O-line. Right.
Yeah. No, 100%. He said
they're not just run blocking, buddy. They pass blocking too.
He was saying he was talking about the protection that he was receiving and everything. Like that's not the type of thing you want to see happen there, man. And then you walking off, not finishing out the game. Like this is it's not a good look. It's not something that anybody wants to see. Like I think that you're an amazing player. I think that you have the ability to play, but your attitude cannot start outweighing your performances. And it's starting to get that way. It's starting to look like your attitude is outweighing your performances. And your father has talked about doing things the right way and all that stuff in the past, and holding you, and he's talked about accountability, all these things, and right now it looks like he's letting you do whatever the hell you want to do.
Yeah.
It don't look like he's holding you accountable. It doesn't look like he's holding you, Shador, accountable for much.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a report out there that says that that Deion Sanders does not want the team band to play the fight song anytime that Shador Sanders scores. They want to play. They want the PA person to play his rap song. And I wasn't clear on when they said his rap song, what they were talking about. If they were talking about Shador's rap song or Deion's rap song. Like, I was like, but either way, it's nuts.
They played it last week. That's what I remember. So it's very interesting that they're playing Shador's song. I don't like it, Mark. I don't like let's be honest. When Deion Sanders did his music video, Must Be the Money, he was the best. He was the best cornerback in the league.
Yeah, and he's already proven. He already proved.
Yes.
Proven something.
Now, being a quarterback, your claim to being the best quarterback is tied to wins. Unfortunately, okay. You can't be losing and then the band's playing your song, my boy. You know what I'm saying? But I believe heavily in, if something is done in public that needs to be corrected, then it needs to be corrected in public. You can't praise them in public, watch them do something in public that is bad for the team, and then not correct it in public, Mark. So when you say that it seems like Deion is just kind of letting him do whatever, if I don't see Deion, if I'm a player, right, or forget it, if you're just anybody watching this, and you don't see Deion Sanders address this publicly, you can just do it post-game or press conference leading up to the next week's game. I don't care. But if he doesn't address this publicly, Mark, then that's what it seems like. That's what it's going to come off as to me. And if I'm watching it from the outside looking in and it feels that way to me, then I can only imagine what it feels like in that locker room. Okay? So yeah. And we know that we've seen the footage. We know that Deion Sanders is hard on these young men when it comes to discipline and when it comes to accountability.
Right.
So the locker room going to go crazy. Okay, there's going to be a divide I feel like if he doesn't do it publicly. There's only so many times that you can have that conversation behind the scenes if your son, aka the star quarterback, is publicly making these remarks about the other members of the team.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Just it's not looking good, and it's starting to look more and more that these moves that he's making has only been to increase the popularity and promotion of his children.
That's what it's looking. The thread is starting to unravel, as they say. And once that one piece of thread is fully unraveled, then the entire garment just falls apart. But that's what happens when you're not building a solid foundation. And I don't feel like he's built a solid foundation for this program yet. But it feels like the thread is getting tugged on right now, Mark. So I don't want to see it end up that way. I've been rooting for Coach Prime this entire time. I really like Shedeur Sanders as a quarterback. I personally have been saying that Shedeur Sanders is who people think Caleb Williams is. That's kind of going far because I don't think Shedeur Sanders is Pat Mahomes 2.0, but you get the gist, right?
Right.
And I've been praising him up to this point for how he's handled losses, how he's handled wins, all that stuff, his approach to the game. And I don't know what happened in this game because he's not the person that we've seen behind the mic in front of the camera. He's not that person. He wasn't that person this week. In the same way that I got on Caleb Williams when he had his moments, I have to get on Shedeur and say that this can't happen again during this season. And if it does, it should affect his draft stock. But the star power of the Sanders family might outweigh it all, regardless of what his behavior is.
Well, the one person that I could have guaranteed would have drafted him regardless of what he does, just re-upped on his quarterback.
I don't care what nobody.
Money.
Hey, people are making jokes about it. I 1,000% feel like that's what happened. I feel like he watched the game, saw it. He didn't like the press con. He didn't like none of everything that was associated with that game. So you know what, Dak, we will pay you. Maybe I'm reaching. I know people was joking about it.
I don't know. Did Dak get paid before that happened? I don't know.
No, he got paid like 2 days afterwards. That's the thing. He got paid right afterwards.
Okay.
We just thought that Dak might not get paid till the end of the season. Or whenever. Dak got paid immediately, Mark. Right after that. Time was crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah. And they gave Dak a ridiculous contract.
Well, all right. So there you have it, man.
Yeah, see?
So yeah, man. We'll see. We'll see what happens there, man. Any games next week that you're looking forward to?
Let me pull up the schedule. I have it up already. So, week 2. Games I'm looking forward to. A lot of these I don't care about. We got the. I can't even disrespect the Commanders and call it the Doo-Doo Bowl, but you do have Commanders Giants. I would care about it, but I think the Commanders are just going to outright win that. Like I said, scrolling. All right, here's an interesting one. You have Bucks Lions.
Okay.
And because of the things that I previously said about the Lions, my concerns, and then you have the Bucks, who
looks like you lost another one.
I mean, they played well first week. I can't hold them on that, right? The defense did not play as good as I thought they would, but that should be a good game to me. It was a good game in the playoffs last year.
Right.
And it came down to the wire, and I just feel like that's going to be another close one. The other game, that I find interesting, because I feel like these are just games that I don't want to, that I'm not hardcore excited to see. The other game is going to be Eagles Falcons, the Monday night game, Mark, because I'm with you. I don't like the Eagles defensive scheme. I didn't like what I saw week 1. I didn't like what I saw from Atlanta week 1 offensively, but I feel like this is a bounce back week for them. And if there's any week for them to bounce back, Eagles defense might be it. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the ones. You know what I'm saying? So, but what I'm watching this game to see, Mark, is I'm watching this game to see, which I'm sure the Eagles fans want to see. I want to see that killer instinct, Mark. I want to see you guys put the Falcons away, because I'm sure by your expectations, Mark, you got Kirk Cousins in a primetime game. You full well expect the Eagles to put them down. And I feel like that's going to say a lot of the future of the Eagles season. And that's why I'm watching this game.
Listen, my intriguing game is Buffalo Miami. Thursday night. I do not like that a good matchup is happening on Thursday night. But at least Thursday night is getting a good matchup. Like Amazon, I guess Amazon said we paid good money, we better get good games.
They overpaid. We know they did. So
yeah,
look at the numbers. So
yes, I guess they said we better get good games, and they're getting the good games. You got Buffalo versus Miami for Thursday night football, and I think this is going to go well. We'll see how this plays out, but the fact of the matter is, Josh Allen did not look good as far as moving the ball through the air. But I wanted to bring this up. Is this something or there's some? I remember what the something or nothing is, and we'll talk about that after this.
Yeah.
But yeah, Buffalo, Miami. I want to see what happens there. I want to see if Buffalo's defense is for real. I want to see if Josh Allen can defeat Miami's defense. I want to see if he can move the ball better through the air in this game. And it's just two marquee teams going up against each other. The next one, if there was another intriguing game that I was looking for, it would have to be the Eagles, because Jalen Hurts, like he left a lot to be desired in that last game.
He did.
This is for me strictly from a Jalen Hurts standpoint. There was checkdowns that he missed. There was times where he should have taken off and he had the lane to take off. He was indecisive. There was the interceptions. The first interception was absolutely baffling. People talk about the second one, but the first one was the baffling one.
It was terrible. Yeah.
The second one, he was late on throwing it, and AJ Brown slipped. So it looked worse than it was. But the first one was he threw into quadruple coverage and just I don't know what he expected to happen from that. And like I said, he was missing checkdowns. Saquon Barkley was open several times underneath in the middle of the field or cutting across the field, and he just didn't see it.
You fucked up my parlay, man. I had Saquon Barkley over 2.5 catches because I thought it was a lock. Then when the weather was bad, I was like, for sure it's a lock. No. But that's me being personal.
Yeah.
But whenever you're done, I got some comments about that.
Yeah, so he just didn't even see it. So I want to see more from him. I want to see more from the Eagles defensive line. Like Bijan Robinson, like the way that defensive line played, he should be averaging 6 to 7 yards a carry against the Eagles. So we'll see what actually happens in the game. But those are my picks.
Yeah. So real quick, so what I was gonna say about the Jalen Hurts performance. That really should have been my overreaction. But to be real with you, man, there's two things that happened with Jalen Hurts in that game that I was surprised by. I've seen him throw a bad pick here or there. It doesn't happen very often, but I've seen him do it, right? What I haven't seen from him, Mark, though, was the indecisiveness when it comes to taking off. I've never seen him. He took a lot of bad sacks.
Yes.
Where it was like, you absolutely should have been able to get to the edge. And because of your indecisiveness, and it just felt like, I didn't feel like it was just like he looked slow. It just felt like he was just indecisive, and that allowed the defense to key in on him and get to him to where he couldn't get to the edge, and he was getting tackled. And I was like, I've seen it too many times where it's like, yo, just take off. And then it's like, he hesitates, and then he gets sacked. And I'm like, that should have been an 8-yard scamper, right? So that was very concerning to me, Mark. It's almost like he lost some confidence at some point somewhere, Mark. And then the other part of it, once again, loss of confidence, I would point to is, I thought he was upper echelon when it came to read options. And some might say that the Chiefs not the Chiefs, excuse me. Some might say that the Packers just played it very well. I'm going to tell you, Mark, that every time he kept it, I knew that he was keeping it. As somebody just watching on TV. I don't know when this started happening, but it seemed like he couldn't sell the read option for shit. It's like he was the motion of him faking the handoff was taking so long that it made it obvious that he was keeping the ball. That's what I saw. I see you shaking your head, so you probably saw the same thing. But those two things are concerning because guess what? That's supposed to be a superpower.
Right.
That's supposed to be what makes you great, as if you're Jalen Hurts. The threat of running, the not knowing whether you're going to hand it off or take it. That is what got you guys to the Super Bowl that year, right? And then his ability to improvise and his ability and his decisiveness when it came to taking off, which made it so much easier for the run game to work. We talked about this that season. And I feel like everything that he did amazingly at the highest clip in that Super Bowl year, it looked like he didn't know how to do it in the Packers game. So, yeah, but I just had to. I had to bring that up because it's definitely something that I watched during the game, and I was like, I have to bring this up to Mark.
Yeah, so, man. Yeah. That's crazy. But, the something or nothing that I want to talk about is lately. Is it going to show?
Yeah. Oh, why is it showing like that? I got it.
I don't know. Oh, because it's set as a banner.
I got it.
All right. But anyway.
Yeah.
So the something or nothing that I wanted to talk about was the fact that there was only 2 quarterbacks that passed for over 300 yards this past weekend. And that was Matthew Stafford and Tua Tagovailoa. In years past, we've had multiple quarterbacks throw for 300 yards, 400. I mean, I believe one year we had 2 quarterbacks both throw for close to 5 in the same week.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I believe that happened once. And the question is defenses now finally shutting it down, shutting the party down. Like because we always talk about how this thing is like things just go around in a circle. Like right now, like before it was the run game is like was getting shut down, and so people started moving around from the run game and going into passing, and they saying it's a passing league now.
Yeah.
Are we just wait like now that they are keyed in on, but or at least seemingly keyed in on the passing, and now those passing yardages are now lower from this week? Like, I mean, shoot, there's not like there was only a few teams that even had over 250 yards. There was a lot of teams that had 200 yards, 160 something yards passing.
I was just going to tell you, Mark, if you look at the number of quarterbacks that had under 200 yards passing, I'm sure that had to be some type of record. Like,
Right.
Yeah, because I myself don't remember ever seeing that many QBs under 200 yards. We're talking 120, 160. It was disgusting out there, Mark. So, but to answer your question, is it something or nothing? I'm not gonna hold you. When you asked me this when you brought it up this afternoon, Mark, I was leaning towards it's nothing. But what came to my attention and what I remembered was, I remember last season, Mark. Last season, we were talking about how there really wasn't no great quarterback play outside of C.J. Stroud, who happened to get injured.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And we talked about, you look at Lamar Jackson's numbers. His throwing numbers wasn't that crazy. You looked at Brock Purdy's numbers. His throwing numbers wasn't that crazy. You're talking about two quarterbacks that was fighting for MVP that both had less than 4,000 yards passing and both had less than 3,500 yards passing. Forget 4,000, they both had less than 3,500 yards passing. So, and then you looked at the touchdown totals through the air, you're talking about 25 or under. There was like two quarterbacks last season that had more than 25 touchdowns through the air. The passing clearly took a dip for the entirety of the season last year, and then the way the season started this year. I think it's something because I do believe that the defensive coordinators in the NFL are the best coaches in all of American sports. I think they have bigger impact than even, I think they're better at what they do, and they take what they do more seriously than any other coaching position. I'm talking about offensive coordinator, head coach, all that stuff. So yes, I think they figured it out. I think they now have been drafting the personnel, and that's what it comes back to. They're drafting the personnel to shut these things down. You want to hit us underneath with quick passes? Guess what? We're going to draft nickel corners. When back in the day, your nickel corner was just an outside corner who wasn't good enough to play outside. We are specifically drafting nickel corners that can come up and tackle, and maybe you catch the ball on them, but they're going to at least be able to lock that down. You look at what the Ravens and the Chiefs were able to do. Their nickel corners were amazing last year, okay? They are drafting the personnel and getting the people in position to combat what the offenses are doing. And on the same token, Mark, it feels like the pass rush game has changed from just being an outside pass rush game to now where teams have interior pass rushers. It seems like every team has at least one interior pass rusher. So the front line, the pass rush game is different. And the one thing that solidified my something for you, Mark, is the rule change. They're keying in on the false starts with the offensive line. That was a big deal this week one. They are keying in on the illegal formation of the offensive line. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to tell you, the offensive line has always had a hard time keeping up. They already were at a disadvantage. But guess what? If they're going to call false start and they're going to call illegal formation on them, it's going to be a long season for quarterbacks because the pass rush is going to get in there. So yes, it's something. Absolutely something. Hey, there goes Son. Hey, let's go Cowboys! It's crazy, boy. You know, you're doing it to yourself, boy. You're doing it to yourself.
Hey man, it is what it is. He don't even watch football for real.
Yeah, which is sad. You know what I'm saying? I know he watches enough to know exactly what the Cowboys are gonna do, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he watches enough to know they ain't been to no Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Oh,
but yeah, man. And just to answer you, exactly half the league had less than 200 yards passing. Exactly half.
That's the most I've ever seen.
And if I was to go for less than 250, I think it's like
damn
20. I think it's 20 out of 32 teams had less than 250 yards passing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's interesting, and we're seeing. And so, is it time for the resurgence of the running back? Would be the question.
It's funny because we asked that question 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, Mark, and I said they keep building these teams for a nickel defense to be your default. Then yes, it will eventually come back around to where somebody's like, wait a minute, we could just get a running back, a big one that can run up the middle.
Right.
And then what are we seeing? We obviously were speaking about that because of Derrick Henry's success, but look at Bijan, look at Breece Hall,
look at
what Joe Mixon is doing right now. Look at Jonathan. Saquon, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs. These are all big running backs. So yeah, no, it's changing right now before our eyes.
All right,
and we did call it. So,
all right, guys. That's pretty much the end of the episode. I want to answer this for San before we head out of here. He says, "Who do you like so far? Like for what?"
I'm guessing he's asking which teams do you like. Maybe he means Super Bowl. Hey, we need to be specific.
I mean, teams that I like. Week 1 overreaction. Who do we like for a Super Bowl? We did this. Actually, we answered that question last week. Didn't we?
I told you I had the Texans versus the Niners in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I had I had the Chiefs. I don't remember who I had out of the NFC, but I did have the Chiefs.
Honestly, Mark, I think you said the Lions.
I don't remember.
I don't.
Oh, you know what?
But I'm pretty sure. You know what? I remember you not picking the Eagles or the Niners. That's what I remember.
It's in my book.
Oh, you wrote it down? Okay. What you got?
I got 49ers, Packers, Falcons, Rams, Eagles. I don't think I picked a team for the NFC to go to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I never picked a team for the NFC to go to the Super Bowl, but I do know that I am going to go, like, if it was out of those teams, I would have to say the Eagles.
There you go.
But
I like it.
But yeah, man.
That's fair. Yeah. So you got Eagles, Texans. You said Texans, right? Or did you say Chiefs?
No, Chiefs, baby.
Okay, so Eagles.
Remember, they're pushing that three-peat.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. They got the machine behind them. Yeah. So.
Oh, and it was evident in that last game because there's no way a defensive coordinator gets a timeout.
Mark.
Like, Doug, even if you accidentally stop the clock because he ran up to you and you got flustered, then you realize.
You review it and you rescind it.
Yeah, you're like, no, absolutely not. Resume play, clock move, and now you cannot call a timeout. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I don't want to talk about the refs cheating for the Chiefs. No. But it's very apparent that although we didn't get to it this episode, Mark, we're probably gonna be talking about it next week.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be talking about it next week, especially if it goes be a close game between them and the Bengals. And you know that the one game that Joe Burrow gets up for is the goddamn Chiefs. So, yeah, either way, yes. Well, I'm done. You're done. We gave you our Super Bowl picks. We didn't say who would win, but we told you who would be there.
Right.
And I feel confident, Mark, that the teams that we picked between the two of us will be there, outside of the Lions making it. But I feel confident that Eagles, Niners is a thing. Chiefs, Texans is a thing.
All right. Well, that's the end of the episode, guys. We appreciate you. Thank you for sticking around. Those of you that did, like, subscribe as always. Shoot it out to your friends, share, see if they like it. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But leave the comments, hit the like button, and remember, as always, it's only entertainment. So please bet accordingly. Always make your bets in accordance with what you think the NFL would like to see happen, or any of these sports entities would like to see happen, because these are not sports. These are sports entertainment, and it's there, and it says it legally. So remember that.
Yep.
All right. That's all I got. Peace.